Welcome to Who Put This On Season 6, Episode 23, where we watch Candylicious Season 1, Episode 1. We've had a couple podtastrophes in the past. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Whoever put this on, I'm going to let that slide. This is Brian.
Don't mind me. I'm just eating all the candy. This is James.
So that's a reference to the show we watched this week. Brian, what was that show?
This week, we watched Candified, Home for the Holidays. The challenge, create a life-size house made of candy. Watch as Candy Queen Jackie Sorkin and her team of candy artists design, glue, melt, and shape hundreds of thousands of sweet pieces to build a fantasy come to life just in time for the holidays. That's Candified, Home for the Holidays on Hulu.
Well, if this is your first time listening, we watch a different reality show each week, discuss that minute detail, figure out if it's good or bad. And you guys last week, on Twitter, we had a poll where we watched Love Never Lies, and it was a tie. So between top, middle, and bottom third show. So I guess it's a little indecisive. Everyone's a little indecisive on that one. So at the end of this week, we'll have a Twitter poll. So please go to Twitter at Who Put This On and vote in the poll. Tell us what you thought about this show as we tell you what we thought about this show. Brian, how terrible was this show?
I'm going to have the exact opposite opinion. I don't think it was that bad. So this show kind of falls under the category of just a group of people trying to accomplish one thing throughout the season. And there's going to be drama that they introduce. But this thing that they're trying to do is build a candy house.
But when I say candy house, don't you expect that house to be made out of candy?
I would.
Right?
But,
like this whole show is the premise is they're making a candy house. But Brian, what are they actually doing?
They're covering all surfaces of a house with something sugary.
To make it look like it's candy. But James, is this edible?
To be clear,
they're not
using some candy. They're using a lot of candy.
They are using candy. They're just destroying a bunch of candy right now.
They're definitely destroying a lot of candy. My challenge with it is, so when I hear candy house, my immediate thought is like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where everything's edible.
Wait,
you can see it.
You wouldn't think of Hansel and Gretel?
No.
What?
The kids in the oven?
Yeah.
Why am I thinking of that?
Well, because they're going to they go find the candy house and then they eat the candy house and then they put it in the oven.
A big Hansel and Gretel fan. I don't know.
They literally find a candy house.
I don't know. That's a scary story though. They get cooked in the oven. Spoilers.
Okay, you need to fucking watch Willy Wonka again because that place is terrifying. It's this death trap thing. You do one wrong thing and all of a sudden you're dead. Like you're done forever.
It's true, but then the Oompa Loompas come in.
and
they have that cheerful song.
And this is what redeems it. This is not what makes it scary for you. Like these little people just like in creepy things dancing. They're singing songs about your fucking death.
Yeah. Well, hey, that girl, she needed to get flushed down the tube or whatever.
Okay, that's fine. But what about the other kids?
What about Johnny Depp? He was great.
Well, that's a different movie.
Same movie. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's the sequel.
That's not the sequel.
What? The original one.
They remade it.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the Johnny Depp one.
All right. We got to move off this.
But to the point, it's not that because you can't eat any of this stuff.
Zero. You can eat zero things in this house.
I mean,
it's so disappointing.
Some people will just eat it no matter what.
Well, the thing, okay, you're right. We can talk about that. But he ate it while it was just had glue on it next to a thing. Once it's glued onto a thing, you can't eat that.
Once it's been out for a day, that's not even going to be edible. It's dried out bullshit.
Whoa,
not all candy is going to be all that dry.
Candy lasts a long time, Ryan.
Sure, it lasts. I'm not saying it's going to go rotten. I'm just going to say that it's going to be past its best by date.
I mean, that's fair, but are we digging in now on all of the issues we have with the functionality pieces, or
sure.
Are we still teeing it up? Okay,
we just talk about this the act of just gluing candy on the outside of an item and calling it a candy house.
It's true. I really thought they were gonna have to what was the show with the floating boats where they had to make out of food? What was that? That was
I don't remember the name of the show.
Whatever that was, though.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, man, we're really missing the internet corner up.
No, Noah Singer.
The Noah.
His internet not helping us out.
But the difference with that show to this was like they had to make it out of the foods.
Baking Impossible.
Baking Impossible. There you go. Great. And this one is not that. Although they did show at some point some like 3D printer technology thing, which became a little more unclear of like, were they going to fabricate the house? Because when they announced the show, it sounded like, one, it sounded like they're going to build a candy house. But then two, like, no. Just kidding. We're going to have a house and we're going to decorate it with candy. But then, no. Part three, they're like, well, we have this crazy 3D printer thing that's going to build all these shapes, and then we're going to glue the candy to that. And then some dude's like, I can like design it in such a way where we can make, wall A connects to wall B, and we'll like label it all. So I'm unclear what the hell they're doing.
So what they're doing is like, they're going to make this candy house. They had a design. We're watching them design this room. And then they're like, we just assumed they have found a house that they were going to put all this stuff in. Like a normal sane human being. No, they're going to make a house set on some sort of lot somewhere. And it's just silly. It's just, what are you doing?
I think I've come to the conclusion at the end of this. They're simply just making an art piece. That's all they're doing.
They're just wasting money.
Oh my God. Okay, so we got to get into this. So there's this project that like they're shooting for, and there's this like millionaire dude named Frank Capra, and he's just bankrolling this candy hotel, and this crew's objective is to get that bid and show that like they can crush it. First off, who the fuck is bankrolling a goddamn candy hotel? That is so fucking useless. And then this team is also shooting their shot for it by building more bullshit. Why can't anybody stop wasting money?
Okay. All right. We got to talk about a candy hotel here. If I was telling James, we're going to go stay at this candy hotel, what would you expect to do? What would you expect a candy hotel to be?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I go into my hotel room and everything's edible. See that lamp? You can just take a bite out of it.
There's no way I'm going to a hotel and taking a bite out of a lamp that hundreds of other people have been in that room. That's just not happening.
I mean, that's the problem with it is like, there's the perception that you want from like a movie, but then reality hits you slapped in the face, and there's no way this will ever work.
In reality, here's what a candy hotel is. You go
Gross.
in, and they have things that look like candy. So they have like a Tootsie Roll lamp that looks like a Tootsie Roll. It's not a lamp you fucking covered in gross Tootsie Rolls that have been there forever. No one wants that. Absolutely not. Maybe when you go into this hotel, there's like lots of candy everywhere that you like, wrapped, you can eat. And then everything looks like candy. Like the bedding looks like candy. Like just like candy everywhere. Not literally have candy everywhere. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
We really got to get squared up on like, is the goal for A, the hotel, and B, this candy house, for it to actually be functional in any way, or is it simply an art piece?
So it seems like this show is trying to make a house that people, like kids, can come in and get excited about. It's like you make money by like during Christmas season having, Santa Claus there or something, and they get to come in and check out this house, and it's like a fun thing. You can do with your kids for like $20, $30 or whatever it's going to be.
Take some
it's a waste of money, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That is 100% what this thing is going to be.
So it's an art piece. It's
just like an art. It's not an art piece.
It's an exhibit.
It's an exhibit. It's an exhibit. Yeah. Brian, would you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is art. It's still such a fucking waste.
It's such a waste. We'll get into it. Okay, let's start talking about the show a little bit now that we're kind of done talking about how stupid this is. So we got Jackie. She's the candy queen. She's the person that owns this candy company, which, Brian, how does this fucking thing a business? Explain this to me.
Because Jackie goes and gets all these bids for stupid shit. Like, she is your classic like CEO where she's going to fleece everybody and be like, yo, you're going to get something awesome. People are going to get so excited, and they're going to get this and be like, why did I do this? Like, how drunk did you get me that day?
Whoa. Hold on. I think we're jumping the gun a little bit harshly on Jackie here.
No, we're not.
No, hang on. Hear me out. You're kind of judging what I just heard simply based on this like house candy project.
I'm not judging her.
What if I told you that that's not maybe her whole business? I don't know her whole business, to be clear. I'm not deep in the internet corner. But I could see, like, I view her more as she has an art studio and she will do candy related projects, and basically either sell those or create them, whatever. No different than like custom cakes or anything else that you might want to have done, right? And so I think if you don't think about it just as like candy house, like forget the candy house for a minute and be like, oh, I want this like, creative like whatever, and I want it to like be made of candy. Like who you're gonna go to? Like that's her business, I think.
So I slightly agree with you in that, like, hey, this is our business of like getting orders like that. I think that she goes for very big orders, which are 100% in the I've got money and I want to burn it category. So all the people involved in this, like, they're not doing anything beneficial to anybody for this. It's a small like enjoyment for kids, but that's not going to be relevant to the grand scheme of things. Like, there's so much sugar being burned for this. And then this is also like a family / very close friend business. Like, I don't think she does like anything else but candy, because she hired like somebody who baked for her like really quickly.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely a candy art studio. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that is the business. It's candy art studio.
Yeah.
If you want something made out of candy, you're looking her up and you're going to Jackie, Queen of the Candy, whatever her business name is.
Yeah, it's just, this is a scale that I don't think anybody should operate at. I am fully accepting of like, hey, I want a candy piece for my wedding. That's a totally acceptable thing. That seems edible for the time. Like, making something that is physical.
I don't even imagine most of these things are edible, to be clear. Like, I just think that like it's a creative thing. Like, I think the wedding is a good example of something that like might get business, right? Another one might be maybe like a parade float or something. Like, I don't know.
Okay, according to this one website, there's no links, but according to this website, she has huge clients, Ryan. Huge. She's a woman, works with the biggest names in the world. What, does the name Oprah ring any bells, Brian? What about Katy Perry?
Let's be clear. Oprah gave us Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, so fuck her.
What about...
Oh, man. Whoa.
What about the likes of Disney or Justin Bieber? Have you heard of a family whose name is Kardashian? What about Sephora? She's worked with all of them to create some of the most beautiful and amazing designs with her candy.
See, again, like, for a lot of these things, I think that some of them are just, they can be nice things. Sephora, you want to like create some cool candy jewelry? Go for it. Justin Bieber, you want something on stage? Fuck yeah. Like, throw out candy to the audience. But
or maybe it's like props for music videos. Like, I think like she just has a niche business that's like, hey, I want something creative made out of candy. Like, you go to her. Like, I don't know. It seems like you're coming down pretty harsh.
I don't think you go to her to get things made out of candy. You go to her to put candy on things. That's all she does.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't trying to imply that like the whole thing is made of candy. It's just like you have like this idea that you want like a candy art piece. Like, that's what they're making.
So my only problem is just that like she tries to go get these like really big things and they're so wasteful for absolutely nothing.
Oh,
you could argue that about 1.5 billion things.
All right.
Like, you could arguably argue about that for all of art.
All right, James. Okay. If you were a kid and you were like given a choice, you're going to go to this candy like house and be like, check it all out. Or would you like to have as many marshmallows as you could eat for like 3 months? Because that's how many just the amount of marshmallows went into that house.
So you're basically asking, do you want, as a kid, do you just want the candy or do you want the experience?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there is something that like sparks the imagination and kids' interest of like these creative things. Like, it's the same reason that like we get excited around the holidays around like art for like Christmas lights or whatever your holiday of choice is, different like art installations or exhibits or structures. Like, it's just interesting to go and see and do and experience those things. Like, I don't think it's such a negative thing. And maybe it's biased because I'm not much of a candy person myself. So like the like 3,000 pounds or like whatever marshmallows I'm kind of like grossed out by, but maybe as a kid that's different. So yeah, like, I don't know. And like, I don't even know that like you ask most young kids like that same question. We should put it on the poll. Maybe another follow-up question at who put this on.
Maybe I'll
get the kid poll.
We'll have another tweet maybe. All right, Brian. Let's get through this a bit. Let's talk about this room. So they are making this house. I forget everything about the house other than they're working on the kids' room. So in the kids' room, there's a polar bear bed. There's a creepy penguin. There's an igloo.
You did not say that about the penguin,
There's
sir.
a nightstand. And we'll go through each one of them as we go through.
How dare you call Mr. Sparky creepy?
Well,
Thank you.
He did get decapitated.
Whoa! Spoilers.
Yeah. I started playing taps after that. Like,
So I think a decapitated penguin is kind of creepy.
I've never seen a decapitated penguin on a reality TV show before. Let me tell you that.
Just saying. So this is why I say, like, she has a lot of employees here. So, like, each one of these has 2 people working on it full time for who knows how long.
Definitely multiple days.
Definitely like a week to 2 weeks, depending probably on what like project they're working on.
They did announce the production schedule of the show, like on the show.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks,
right,
to make this whole house. So they did say at some point there were 40 days left, but there was no context to what was done, what was not done. It just said 40 days left on the bottom. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. It was weird. Anyway, let's talk about the polar bear bed. The polar bear bed was made out of 50 pounds of marshmallows. 50 pounds of marshmallows. 300 black and white jelly beans. 600 feet of sour belts.
I'm trying to recall where the marshmallows. So the jelly beans are essentially like the basic framework of like the bed. So that's most of like the white white polar bear, right?
No, the base of the bed is marshmallows.
Oh, the base of the bed is marshmallows. That's why I was trying to place them.
Yeah.
They were actually the feet of the polar bear. So
then the feet of the polar bear were the jelly beans.
Yeah.
And like there's some other jelly beans elsewhere, but the majority of the bed was just white marshmallows.
And I feel like the headboard was like a bear head that was probably black and white of maybe the jelly
I think
beans.
those were made jelly beans. Like the shiny bits were like the polar bear head and the feet, which were made out of jelly beans. To be clear, they were glued on jelly beans and glued on marshmallows.
Oh yeah.
It looks kind of interesting. Like if you were a kid, like under the age of like 5, you're probably just trying to eat these things, right?
Oh yeah, that bed was looking good. I thought. Like, I mean, overall, it was just like a bed that looked like a bear, which is great and cute and whatever. And then it's like made a bunch of candy. Like it looks kind of cool. We got to talk about that like sour rope. What were those
they're
things?
called sour belts. So they're like tiny little, I don't know.
It's fruit by the foot, but sour.
No, but they weren't foot long. They were only like
they were cut into strips.
I feel like if it was foot long, it would be very believable.
I think they were like 6 inches or something. And they like weaved it into like this tapestry. Pretty impressive. They showed you do like six of them, and then the next scene is just them they have a whole quilt made. I was like, oh my god, that's so many. When did that happen?
They really should have time lapsed that or something. I feel like that would have been nice.
That would have been great. That's what the show needs, James, is a time lapse of them making these things. Like the unbelievable amount of wasted effort goes into these things. It's so time consuming. They're literally taking marshmallow glue, put it on, marshmallow glue, put it on, marshmallow glue, put it on. 50 pounds of marshmallows.
All by hand, all very tedious and like arguably with a lot of attention to detail, so much so that constantly throughout the show, people are arguing about the level of detail and like the right way and the wrong way to do things. And like, no, that pattern's no good. We got to do it this way, etc.
Yeah, we'll get into some more of the more. This one didn't seem like too many nuanced stuff. They also made a cotton candy pillow.
Oh my god, I'm so well. Firstly, before we move off the sour rope things, wait, they're not sour ropes. They're sour
belts.
Belts. Oh, why can't I remember that? The sour belts.
Never heard of this thing before.
They basically make the bed quilt out of that, right?
Yeah.
And they make this, and then they zoom out, and it's just on the floor, like in this like warehouse where they're like building this stuff. So A, that's kind of gross. You're definitely not eating it now. And then B, they've underestimated how heavy all this is, and so now they're trying to pick it up, and it's loose, and so they're trying to pick it up. It's pulling apart. They got to get like 6 people to carry it. They need like one of those like pizza tray things to like slide under it and scoop it.
James, first of all, if anybody is deciding to take a bite out of this blanket no matter whether it was on the ground or off, like that doesn't matter at this point. Like they've made a decision.
It's glued together, James. There's no this. It's just glue. It's not candy. It's candy and glue. It's not edible glue.
If you do not die from everything else, the dirt on the ground is.
Well, actually, I don't know. Like Elmer's glue is edible. It just doesn't taste very good. Do you think that they're using stronger glue than that?
No, I don't think
it's got to be somewhat edible, or like they could get in trouble for that 3-year-old that just pops that marshmallow in their mouth.
Yeah, it's just not going to be that good. But I'm mostly thinking about like the pure sugar content. Like you're just going to town on this blanket, and then it's like, well, there goes dinner for the next 5 nights.
I think you take a bite of this blanket, you're like, ugh, and then you're just like vomiting on the spot.
That is also a problem that I have, is that like this stuff is just sitting around and it's going to be gathering like the air, like you're freeze burning everything.
Yeah, it's just going to be. I can't imagine this being on the floor is just going to get so much dirt under it, dirt in it, and like just being out and about gets dust on it. Like, no, like this thing is just, ugh. Like, no, stop.
You know what else is, It's this cotton candy pillow.
Oh, it looks so gross.
Who wants to, like, nothing, again, this is like where we have to step back. Like, none of this is functional. They sort of like act like it's meant to be fun, but like it's not. It's just meant to look at. You're not putting your hair on this cotton candy pillow. It'd be insane.
Yeah, that's like another decision. Like if I get on that bed in any way, like every piece of clothes like has to be. I don't know how you deal with that, and then you try to lay in this cotton candy pillow, and it's like you're.
It didn't even
so sticky.
It didn't even look good.
No.
It kind of looked like it oozed under the bed a bit. It was just like, don't know.
That was a great word choice there, because the ooze really does hit the nail. Like I was struggling with like, how do I feel about this? But like, it does kind of just ooze out. You're like,
It's just like, just imagine cotton candy that you just left out for days, and you're like, no, just no.
You're not taking a quick chomp of that, man.
No. By the way, this was Basha and Caroline. They're cousins. They work for the company.
It's
Nothing
fucking
to
wild.
really say about them. That's just who's doing it.
This whole family dynamic, like there's so many connections in this. It's like
we'll get through. I have some of the connections right now.
I just can't believe how many people got suckered into this.
Hey man, you just want, if you like monotonous tasks, like if you could just pop on, you can listen to so many books while you're doing this. Just pop on a book and just be like gluing stuff together, making money. And
you end up probably listen to D. Micah's bitch ass.
Oh, should we talk about D. Micah's
yeah.
project?
Are we ready for it?
The nightstand. So D. Micah, he is doing the nightstand. 1,000 white disc candies, 600 blue bear gummies, and 5 pounds of edible sprinkle glitter.
That's so much glitter. I honestly don't know how much glitter weighs in general, but I have to imagine it.
Like I have no like, is that a lot? Is it a little? I have no idea.
I think when you buy like glitter at the store, you'd be like, you might see it in like a half pound kind of like.
I'd imagine it's probably like in some kind of ounces we're talking at the store.
Yeah,
right?
like 8 ounces. It's like half pound, right? And so it'd be like roughly like 10 times the regular amount you'd buy at a store. Which, if you buy it at a store, that glitter would last you your whole life. Like you would just like, what are you using glitter for? Unless you're a stripper. Like, I don't know.
But again, this is also edible glitter, so it's going to be bad in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Like, I don't know what edible glitter is. I've never bought it before.
It's basically so that like whatever it lands on, because it will get everywhere, it will not destroy it. You can still eat your eggs and steak.
Whoa, you can glitterize, you can candy glitterize your eggs and steak, Brian?
No, I mean,
you have to try this and please put it on.
Yeah, we need a TikTok of you eating edible glitter and steak.
Somebody's got to do like some kind of glitter eggs and steak dare or something.
I was mostly referring to like there's a strip club that has steak bites.
Oh, yeah. The Acropolis. Shout out to the Acropolis.
Do they glitterize their eggs?
No, but you have to think that like there's glitter around and it's going to have to be edible.
But
I don't know that it's edible, Brian. I think it's just happening.
But follow us on TikTok. There might be special TikToks coming your way. Who knows?
You can't record that, Chris.
We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
What will Chris glitterize? Stay tuned.
I'm gonna set up a GoFundMe for bail.
All right, D. Micah. So he provides about 100% of the drama of the show, which I'm not sure the show needs any drama. And it kind of annoys me. This guy really annoys me. So he is some guy that wants to be in charge, or he wants to be second in charge, essentially. But there's another person, Jen, that's second in charge, essentially. And like this feud goes on so long, at the end of this episode, that she codifies it that he's third in charge and she's second in charge, and other people have some random ass titles that don't mean anything.
We got to get into at least a couple of titles. We can save it for the minutia, but yeah, she like. I feel like part of this business is like a bunch of people like, in Damika's own words, like he's over the corporate world. He left that. He's now doing this candy job. He's like, just whatever. This is so much better, like low stress, all that kind of fun. And I feel like that's a lot of these people, right? They just want to be super creative. They just want to make stuff and like kind of work in this like pretty flat, like no big company kind of place. And then by the end of the episode, Jackie, the boss lady, right, is like, I got to put in a hierarchy and give titles to people to clarify their roles.
Because there's so many people making this. There's like 8, 9, 10 people making this thing. These things is too many people.
This is a sizable business she's got going.
Yeah. How much money do you need to make to pay 10 people to make this fucking candy shit?
I mean, you got that Oprah money.
It's just insanity. I don't know. He seemed fun. Like the first thing we see him do is just like eat candy, and he's eat candy the whole time.
And he's just eating different candies. The show opens and he's just got a jar, like a gallon-sized jar of gummy bears, and he's just nomming them down one after another.
And he's the one that ate a piece of candy with glue on it.
Did you think this is the first time I've eaten glue before?
Also Mandy, the new girl, which is also her title at the end of the episode, is also the new girl.
Her title gets updated to still the new girl.
Her Chiron or whatever is still the new girl. Everyone has like fun Chirons, and then they get updated with their real titles, which are very corporate and very boring, which is very sad. Like D. Micah was like Team Fabulous or something, and then it gets turned into assistant director of creatives, whatever. I don't gives a fuck.
It was, well, we got to get into this thing because so the structure of the show and the drama, right, is it's like essentially Jackie, and then who's the number 2? Jen, and then everyone else is in like a flat structure. And then at the end of the show, she's like, okay, new structure, gives everybody all their titles. She's like, Jen is number 2, and then D.
Micah.
D. Micah, man, I keep wanting to say
he's
DeMarco.
He's not number 3,
but it's effectively number 3, and she's basically like your assistant to Jen. So nothing has changed. He still reports to Jen, but like now he has some sort of like pseudo structure where he's the number.
I feel
3.
like this is a big downgrade for D. Micah. He made it seem like it was positive, but like at first, like everyone's flat. He still like reports to Jackie, right? So Jackie's still in charge of everything, but like when Jackie's gone, we got to report to Jen. Great. Whatever. I want that job. I think I should have it, whatever. But now, instead, you're not reporting to Jackie at all. You've been demoted, right? You don't want to be the assistant director.
Yeah, he's assistant to Jen. Like, she was very clear, like, you are Jen's assistant.
Yeah, not good. I assume this will create a lot of drama going forward.
The only thing that maybe is slightly changed in his favor is that, like, he's technically now the quote number 3. So, like, he does have some authority or maybe a rank, but, like, over the other people that aren't Jen's assistant, but it's kind of to what avail?
At the very least, like, he's got a little bit of power. He's just acting like a child because he wanted something so bad.
Because he's eating all that candy.
That's not why.
That's why he's like a child, Brian.
I mean, I guess, like, we kind of honed in on the hierarchy thing, but a lot of the bickering just kind of comes down to creative decisions, right? And it seems like he's very creative. He's very passionate.
Is he?
He has his own things on, like, his mind made on, like, how he wants to do it. And then Jen is like, I think we should do it this way. And that just doesn't work. Like, they're just clashing, basically, right?
Well, Jen's ideas were great, and his ideas are wrong. So I don't know what to tell you.
Sounds like somebody's on Team Jen.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the thing is they were putting these white, what are they called? White disc candies. Never seen them before, and they were covering this stupid nights.
Looked like a bunch of Tums or something.
It did.
So
giant Tums.
This is usually how I see chocolate, like melting chocolate, like served. I just see like a bunch of like little discs and stuff. So that's what I assume it is.
There's no chocolate in this.
I mean, like they're white candies. Like white chocolate isn't really a chocolate either. So
yeah, but this is not chocolate. This is not.
It seemed more like a hard candy, like a hard.
It's like a
powder.
It's like a giant Smartie.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
U.S. Smartie, by the way, not a U.K. Smartie. Anyway, so he was putting them like in a row, and then Jen was like, "Why don't you put them like one in the other, so it's just kind of like off center?"
Yeah.
Because then you fit more in. There's no gaps in between, which the whole point of this fucking thing is there's no fucking gaps, and it all looks like candy. So I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Do that. And then Mike was pissed because him and Jackie, this is the way we're going to do it. And then this was a better way. It's just like, it's just a better way. Just move on. Like, sorry.
This whole drama all could have been avoided. It would have been like, that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, I think we should do that. Or like, well, I feel really strongly about this. Maybe we should come to some kind of agreement. But no, it just blew up into this whole thing, and a lot of like bickering back and forth and whatever. Stuff that I tuned out very quickly because it just made a lot of tension that I didn't care about.
Then it happened again with the gummy bears, which the thing that impressed me the most, I think, this whole show, one is just like the tediousness of this candy bullshit. Like, they had to put gummy bears, they glued them in, and they had to go up, down, up, down, up, down to make them all fit in together. And it's just like, oh man, could you just imagine doing that? Like how long that would take? That's like a day's worth of work. Just 8 hours of you putting a gummy bear, going down. Put the gummy bear upside down. Going down. Put the gummy bear upside down.
There's no way I'm putting any amount of thought into this. Like I am like lining this shit up, and I'm just like trying to like glue, like shove 5 on there. Like I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible.
This is why you're not allowed on. You're not allowed in this company.
Good. Get me fired. I am out.
This might be like a good change of pace. Like one day a month you go in, you're like, let me just do something really tedious and boring and just let the mind veg for a while. Like I could see that, but every day, every 5 days, 40 to 80 hours a week or whatever they're going to need to do for this, forget it, dude. It's just...
I do wonder what, like, when, not just for the show, but like how this business, like what their day to day is pretty much like, or like how varied it gets. Because like, on one hand, it's like, to your point, like some of this is like, oh, you can kind of see it's a little therapeutic, monotonous. You kind of zone out, whatever. You're just doing your jam. But then I got to imagine a lot of this too is like on the creative side, or there's a lot of business aspects going on. Like, I don't know what these people like, if they're just doing the gummy bear thing for like every day for like a year.
I mean,
oh gosh.
Jackie's definitely doing most of the business here. D. Micah, not seeing a single client.
No.
Like, he's not doing that. There's definitely some creative things going on here. So like, on this nightstand, there was like I don't know, a lamp that somebody I think did some creative liberties with.
Yeah.
And like there was like a laptop thing that looked pretty cool. Like I feel like that aspect could attract a lot of people. Just like, oh, you want to candy this laptop? All right, let me go to the candy wall. Pick out these. Oh, this candy's cool. This candy's cool. Let me show. This looks cool. It's gonna look cool. It's all glued together, and now we got a laptop.
So I have a question for you guys. So something that threw me off in the beginning of the show, how much creative liberty do you think they had? Because it seemed like when they started it just kind of dove right into like Jackie just laid out the plan. She's like, okay, we're building this candy house. I've got everyone's assignments laid out on this like big board. Here's all of the like, screenshots of what I want things to look like. We're going to build 3 rooms. We're going to build, this one kid's room, and it's going to have all these features. And I've assigned all the features to certain people. So it seems like, or at least it appears like all of the creativity stuff has already been decided on, already done. And what I don't understand is like, is that something that like the team generates, or is that just Jackie is the creative? Like, who's the creative? Like, who decided this, do you think?
So there is one person that was marked as like the art director. I do not remember their name because once they started assigning titles, it was just really, really fast. I think that like in the hierarchy, there is somebody at the top who is like really planning out this like big picture project, and like, okay, we need like this room. Let's hear the big features, here are the basic plans, and then below that, it's like, okay, accomplishing this goal, like how do we add some flair to this? I think that they do have some creative liberty. I think if they also came back and said, hey, look, I don't think your plan's going to work, like because of X, Y, and Z, they would listen to that. But overall, like you don't need to change the basic plans of.
It's like you're gonna have a polar bear bed in the one room. Like that's not arguable. It's just like that's what's happening.
Right. And then but then one of the creative things I think was the cotton candy pillow. And they also did snowflakes on the blanket. Like those are creative flares, like you can create like a pillow, but then if you said like, oh, I'm just decorating a pillow with fucking marshmallows, cool, cotton candy is different.
I do think there's more collaboration going on, James, that just was cut out and made it seem like Jackie was a dictator here. I don't think you're working at this place if somebody's like, hey, glue the, like, it's not a prison job. They're not like, hey, go in, you're going to glue these gummy bears together, and this is how we're going to want it. And when you're done with that, glue these marshmallows together. Like, I don't think that that's the job these people want.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that, like, okay, we're going to make a bed. Let's, you two, you're making the bed. Come over here. Let's talk about it. Okay, be cool to make a polar bear bed. Sounds great. We'll do this and this. And like, I think it's more of a collaborative experience than is showed here. I can imagine that being the case. I don't think anyone is like not into this, you know? Everyone is into doing this weird candy thing. Right. Except for maybe D. Micah. I don't know.
No, he's definitely very passionate about candy.
That's true. He's eating all the candy. He loves the candy.
He loves the candy.
He loves being surrounded by candy. Do you think his room is made out of candy stuff?
I think if he could wear candy clothes, he would.
Oh God.
Oh. Next season on. All right. What did we actually think about this nightstand? Because we didn't really talk about it.
It's
the
a nightstand.
nightstand was kind of boring. No,
the nightstand was kind of boring. Yeah.
Like from like if like you take like a 15-foot view away from it, like it's just like a IKEA nightstand essentially, just like a kind of like I don't know 4-foot wide like table with a couple of drawers and a lamp on top of it. Like it seemed very plain.
But that's part of the point of this. Like this bedroom is already pretty intricate. Like you're gonna have so many focal points. You're gonna have the polar bear bed. You're gonna have the igloo marshmallow pit. You're gonna have the laptop on the desk. Like, and people are gonna like have their eyes drawn to these things. But then they're also gonna see like, oh crap, the desk and the chair are also candy. The nightstand's also candy. Like it's just like an accentuating point at that point. So you just need to cover it and like move on. It's also a big thing. So whatever.
I agree with you. It was the most boring piece, I think. Kind of to a point. Maybe they glue. But anyway. But that might be by design. Like it doesn't need to catch your eye, right? Like kids don't care about a nightstand. What they might care about is the laptop on the nightstand. Or the lamp. Or that cool cotton candy pillow.
Definitely going to care about the thing we haven't really dove into yet, which is this marshmallow pit igloo thing. That
man.
We got to talk about this igloo.
Because that thing's nuts.
Igloo was made by Jen, the number two. And I don't know exactly who else is working on it.
Yeah.
I didn't write that. The name, this show did not do a good job of introducing these people at all. Terrible. I give you a 1 star.
Part of the problem is that like this is definitely from like an existing universe, and they expect you to roll into this knowing the universe.
Is it?
It is for sure. Like
I don't think so.
Really?
Because like I looked up the host Jackie. She's been a guest host on things. She was in Sugar Rush. She was in Guys Grocery Games as a judge, but like she wasn't in a whole lot of episodes.
Dang. Okay.
I mean, you could go look up more, but I don't think so. I think that they're just rolling with that.
You're totally right. Like I just looked it up and I'm wrong. I thought that like based on this whole thing, I was like, oh, this is just a family. Like they didn't do any introductions, so like I figured this is like a side thing compared to like the real Candified, which would be like their main business line, whatever.
Nope.
Damn.
I have a challenge for you on this though, because you both seem to be like, I want more. You seem to be craving some more introduction about these people. I challenge you. Do you really care?
I'm talking about the show. I want to know who we're talking about. That's all I want to know.
So I don't think I want more. I maybe want it better because they just rolled into it like briefly where it's like, oh yeah, this is my sister-in-law. This is my cousin. And it was really fast how they just like, oh, here's my relationship with them. And like, I guess like that was okay. It just, we couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, James, I think I'm just comparing it to other shows where like other shows, I know who the people are, especially while I'm sitting here trying to write notes. Can you imagine people not trying to write notes? Like you have no idea who these people are.
Oh yeah, I don't.
But I know who a lot of people are in shows because I'm trying to write notes. And this time I wrote notes, still didn't know who most of the people are, or at least 3 or 4 of the people are.
Yeah, like essentially the point I'm trying to get to is I feel like a lot of times with these shows we tend to complain about how much time they waste, especially in the first episode, teeing everybody up and going in, and then typically what I feel like I hear somebody say, mainly Chris, is like after like the third person, like I don't care, just get on with it. And so like in the show's defense, just to play devil's advocate, I think it kept it moving and like it didn't impact my ability to watch the show at face value for what it is, with no intent to take notes of like, to that level.
I actually fully agree with that. And we have complained about this before, but it was like, from my perspective, I definitely thought that like, because they had like such short intros and just kind of like brush it off to the side, that this was part of an extended universe. Like I thought that like we should already know these people. So that's the difference. Like me and Chris like just saw this and we're like, oh, why are they not spending like a little bit more time to get us invested?
Hi, my name is Jen. I'm working with blah, blah, blah. We're making an igloo, blah, blah. Like there was none of that. It was just like, I'm Jen and I know Jackie because I worked at a bakery. She ordered 4 dozen cakes. It was a crazy story and I made it all. And then she said I was a great worker and she hired me and blah, 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 and now I work here.
That
crazy
is also
story.
That is also another thing. We do know the backstories of some people. And maybe this is where we're making a mistake. We know the backstory of like Demika. He went from the corporate world to this. We know of Jen. She
worked
did
at a
like
bakery.
Yeah. She did the insane baking job and then took a fucking job after that. Like you're insane. But we don't know enough about like.
It wasn't insane. What was insane was that she called it a crazy story.
Oh, so yeah.
That was just like, oh, I'm ready. She's like, this is a crazy story how we met, crazy story I got here. It's great. I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be a fun story. It was like, I was working at a bakery and she ordered so many cupcakes and I made them all and she was impressed and she hired me.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? That was a normal ass
It's
story.
like the most uncrazy story I've ever heard.
It's such a normal story. Like it's that's the biggest thing I have about Jen.
But to kind of go back to the point of the introductions, like there's a few people like Mandy, the new girl / still the new girl, Caroline. Her first nickname was Team Player, and then it was something else after that. Like that's so generic, and like we didn't get any intro. Like you were clearly working with somebody. And there's other people that just didn't deal with. So maybe we'll get intros later. I
think we're talking about this for so long. Like, doesn't matter.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm just saying, like, this episode, they focused in on a few people. And I feel like the next episode, they'll probably focus on some others. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know.
I've changed my mind. You're right.
Anyway, let's talk about this igloo here. So they cover this igloo in, like, so instead of, like, blocks of ice, it's blocks of sugar cubes. They like put sugar cubes all in a line to make it look like a block
sugar
of
cubes?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop second guessing everything I say.
There was Twizzler straws in the middle, and there was sugar cubes, like all precisely cut, but with used scissors and eyeballing it to make it look like.
Didn't they say they used some sort of sanding too, or something?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And so they like literally take like, I don't know, like 20, 30 like sugar cubes to make one block of ice.
Way more than that.
Or like,
I
don't know.
It's probably close to 100. Like
no, to make one block of ice.
Yeah, like
No,
even on the outside, like those sugar cubes are small.
10 by 10. Anyway,
I thought you said like 20 to 30. Like
yeah, they're taking 20 to 30 sugar cubes.
Oh, 20 by 30
to make one igloo ice cube. So then they're surrounding this whole thing with obviously hundreds, thousands of sugar cubes. But just to make one cube is like 20 to 30. It's like 8 by like 4 or 5 or something like that.
That feels really small. But
I don't
anyway.
know. It doesn't really matter. Thousands.
No,
They
I
said
want to argue with
six-
this on you on this, Chris.
600,000 sugar cubes is what we were quoted. 600,000 sugar cubes.
All individually shaved
Yeah,
by hand.
there's no way like 20 to 30 per block. It's like
just like
230, 300.
there's no thread. I'm not arguing with this. Anyway, just James, imagine how many sugar cubes. Do you put sugar in your coffee?
Nope.
Do you put sugar in your coffee, Brian?
Yeah, it's like 1 to 2 cubes. If like 2 cubes is like a big day.
So like you have a lifetime supply of sugar cubes in this igloo alone.
Oh, that. Ugh.
This is so wasteful.
It's an absurd amount of sugar cubes.
This is and it's just like like the inside is a foam core like thing. They 3D printed or 3D cut probably. It's unclear how they got this one cut.
Well, this one they showed the 3D printer cut. Like they showed that like, oh, this like we need to form a base for this. And to be fair, it totally makes sense. I don't think you can make anything that's like even remotely structurally sound with candy, no matter how hard it is.
We just watched Baking Impossible.
They didn't though. Like we saw them. Like, are you kidding me? But then you have to do this. Like I don't want my kid like in a sinkhole, like where no, they're through the marshmallow pit. Oh no, they're in the foundation.
All right, let's give a better picture of this igloo thing looks like. So they have like the base kind of looks like a sand pit that you'd have outside, like, and then there's like a whole igloo top that goes on. So it's 2 separate pieces. So there's marshmallows all thrown on the inside. So it's like a marshmallow. It's like a ball pit, but marshmallows. And then, then they cover it with this igloo. And then it takes 4 to 6 grown adults to lift this igloo because there's 600,000 sugar cubes on this igloo thing. It is heavy ass motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't even know like I want to know like how much of it is weight versus structural stability, because you're just gluing all this shit together. Like even if like you're just gluing it to like cardboard panels, like I'm still not trusting that thing.
Like what's the weight of like sugar cube to glue? Like how much is a glue versus sugar cube? Like what's the point? Either make an igloo or make the ball pit. There's just no point of having it as a functional take on and off. Kids aren't going to do it. Parents, if you were like Airbnb-ing this place with like, 2 parents, 2 kids, it's either on or off. There's no like taking this thing back and forth.
I mean, I still argue that there's no intent to make this thing functional, but
they did make it functional.
No. But hang on, hear me out. Like as meaning like as an Airbnb, like you're not staying in this thing. No kid is actually playing in it.
I'm just saying.
To see the marshmallows. To your point, like on the outside it looks like an igloo. But then to see the marshmallow pit, you have to take the top off. So it kind of defeats the purpose. It's like, why don't you just make an igloo?
Chris, I need to enter a corner real quick. Do you know how many pounds of sugar cubes there were?
It said 600,000 cubes. It didn't say any
okay.
pounds.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to go into the internet corner for a second.
Yeah. It's just like, maybe if you made like a Twizzler rope on a pulley, you can pull it up so you can see inside.
Well, that's my struggle with it, which is like, so if we're going with the art exhibit theme, right? Like some kids are going to come in, they're going to look at it and go, ooh,
that's what it
cool.
is.
Like, how are they supposed to experience this igloo marshmallow thing? Because like you go, okay, cool, it's this crazy igloo. But then like somebody has to come over and like 6 adults have to take the top off and like, oh, now it's also a marshmallow pit. And you're like, what?
And then you could jump in.
Like, they definitely kept talking like kids are going to be in this. I'm like, one, that's so like, I don't know. It's super gross.
I can't imagine just playing in marshmallows. What? I'm just throwing marshmallows all over the place. I ain't playing in no fucking marshmallows.
Have a cool marshmallow fight.
Not to mention those, dry, hard, crusty marshmallows. Like, anyway. All right, while Brian looks that up, let's talk about the penguin. The penguin is made by Amanda and somebody else. They're sister-in-laws. That's all I know. And the penguin has like a 3D printed foam base that looks like a penguin. And it's made of 8,000 black penguin gummies, 500 champagne bubbles, 20 pounds of marshmallows and 50 feet of sour belts.
Okay, so I did this math, and I'm pretty sure it's wrong because what I did was I looked up like how much a sugar cube weighs, and it was like 2.3 grams. Okay, that's cool. And then I multiplied that by 600,000, and then so 138 or 1,380,000 grams is 3,042 pounds. That's
You made a 3,000 pound igloo out of candy.
There's no way.
That's
They
what they
can't.
said.
There's 6 people can't lift it, Brian. The math doesn't add up.
Okay, so we're not taking into account like the number of cubes that are in the base versus the top, but that is still heavy as shit.
No, I think that all of this is way heavier than you think it is. I
Did
don't
you
know.
say 3,000 pounds?
Yeah,
It's the size of a small car, Brian.
yeah, no, I am well aware of this, but like there's got to be a lot put into the base versus like just the top. So maybe like thinking like
could have
1.2.
They could have overestimated it by a lot too. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what they told us.
So they built an igloo that weighs as much as a car. Okay.
That is all. That is wild, but then it reinforces the question that I had this entire show: how are they fucking moving anything? Like
They're getting forklifts in here 100%.
my-
You gotta move that
There-
bed. We have forklift. How's you moving that?
there is no way half this stuff survives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why you got to tune back in to see how they do it.
Right.
That's
And
the last episode is okay. We're moving all this shit and fixing it.
Well, let's say the Mark Kavanaugh, something like that, the rich guy. Like the goal for the hotel thing was in like Memphis, Tennessee. So are they gonna
Frank-
fly this shit to?
Frank, no. This is to get that job.
Oh, okay. This is the okay.
this is you making a bid. This
Yeah.
is like we're gonna make a bunch of stupid stuff and spend money.
This project is definitely okay. We're gonna go on site and build this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
and
Like this is not a build it off site and move it.
definitely not.
They're doing this wrong. This is such a problem. It's gonna take you just as long to move this thing as to fucking make it.
Also the logistics, like so you have got to roll this up into a truck that's like refrigerated. Like, oh no, it's melting in the back. We gotta go.
It's a plot of a movie. It's Ocean's 9. You're gonna move this candy furniture from point A to point B without it melting
Oh my
in the
god.
middle of the summer in LA. All right. So this penguin or whatever. Have you ever heard of penguin gummies?
No, they just seemed like they were gummies that were miniature penguins.
Or what is a champagne bubble?
They were these small little sort of not circular, but kind of appeared almost circular, but a little spherical, kind of like what's that candy like? It's kind of like
A Smartie?
a textured, but more textured chewy than a harder Smartie.
I have no idea.
They look more texture and chewy, but like just kind of sugar coated in this way. I'm terrible. I don't know candies that well.
I don't know.
It's weird. So I'm like looking at this. This is really weird. Like, they're kind of like tapioca pearls, but like they're like filled with like little like bubbles on them. Like, and it's a really weird thing that just kind of looks
yeah.
like papillae on the tongue. It's
Kind of looks like a mint a little bit.
a little bit.
I would just look it up. It's weird. If I said, here's some champagne bubbles, I would expect some champagne. Okay.
No way.
Don't fucking give me any of this fucking garbage candy.
Do they call them champagne bubbles because you can fit them through a champagne bottle,
And then it bubbles.
and then they go
That would
into
be amazing.
champagne?
I have no idea. Brian, look up why they call it champagne bubbles.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Brian.
It's fine.
Yeah, so the penguin, it looks
You
good.
mean Mr. Sparky, okay?
They at some point they were gonna add a cane and a hat, and then like the guy we didn't talk about him, but Chris, the engineer, said, "I don't know about that hat though." And then at the end, we see them try to move this penguin thing. He did not have a cane or a hat.
He definitely had a hat.
No, he didn't.
I'm definitely calling you on this. We got to go to the video.
We gotta go to the
Definitely
video.
He
had
did have a
hat.
video at one point, or it had at one point, and then
But not at the end.
no.
There was a hat. There was never a cane.
Okay, my internet searching on this did not come up with anything good. It's all about the actual champagne bubbles, which you actually want. So
No.
Okay. Anyway,
This penguin is sizable, though. I don't know if
it's
we
a
clarified
bit,
the size.
it's like
4 or 5 feet tall,
yeah,
at least.
It's a giant penguin. Like, I mean, we're talking 8,000 black penguin gummies.
Which I don't know how. Like the scale of those seem like maybe a couple inches.
I have no idea.
Some like an inch to 2. Like couldn't have been bigger than that though. and then 8,000 of those things. And for some reason, this also kind of freaked me out a little bit, and maybe this was foreshadowing. But so these penguin gummies are black and white, and the belly is like a white belly, and obviously round. And then they, at some point, just go to a shot, and they're taking scissors, and they're having to cut the belly off of these penguins so that they can make them flat, so they can glue them onto the penguin.
Yeah, so
That
the black
freaked
parts
me
of the
out.
penguin are the black part.
Yeah.
And the white parts of the penguin are marshmallow.
Oh. And they cut it off.
They
really
cut off the
freaked me
white
out.
parts of the penguin. They should have used the white parts for the white part of the penguin and the black parts for the black parts of the penguin. But who knows?
It's still just well, I know why they did it, like to create like a smooth surface. It's still so wasteful. It's
Maybe they were eating those, Brian. Could have gave them to D. Micah. Good to go.
That's very true.
You don't know what kind of candies he's eating.
All of them.
Yeah, I can't.
Covered in glue.
So
Yes.
when I was a kid, I could eat these kind of candy, like a Starburst, like a sugary kind of candy. But as an adult, I just don't want it. They don't taste good. They have no nutritional value, and they're not chocolate. So get them out of here.
I mean, a lot of people I would bet would argue they do like it.
No,
But
I'm sure it's
It's
for
not for me. I'm
just-
kind of with you.
no. I'm not trying to impose my my taste on other people, James.
But we did
You
learn a
don't
lot
need
about
to-
your candy requirements. Gotta have chocolate.
Yeah, it's got
Can't be super sugary. Not on the sweet side. So
It
you're
just
more
needs
of like
just needs to have chocolate.
Yeah. If it has chocolate, also peanut butter in your
I mean, if it's got peanut butter, we're hitting the next level of what candy I like.
So like, are we talking Reese's, or do you have a better go-to that
No,
you
no,
would
Reese,
recommend?
Reese's mainly.
At the top, the creme de la creme.
Chris and I and Christina have also done a Reese's taste test recently. So there's no way he will not eat super sugary stuff.
Yeah, I'll eat sugar. I eat sugary stuff, but it's just got to be chocolate. Like that's the sugar I want. And by the way, the Reese's Big Cup with potato chips in it are terrible.
They just didn't add anything to it.
Don't get those.
A potato chip?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of chip are we talking?
I don't know. It's
just-
just potato chips. That's
just-
what it said.
Regular potato chip, like salty. So you're mixing like the salty and sweet thing with like a little bit of crunch in there. It's similar to like a pretzel, which they also had a pretzel cup, which was better.
The
It was
pretzel
just-
cup was fun.
The potato chip one did not come out.
The potato chip, no good.
Mm.
No, don't get that.
Pretzel Reese's though, that seems great.
That was better. I
Pretzel
like
Reese's
that.
was fun. Not my favorite, but it was fun. Anyway, back to this penguin. At the end, I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do. They were trying to remove some like cardboard underneath the penguin for some reason.
No, they were trying to lift it down.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
up on like a workshop table, so it was at like waist height, and they were
Okay.
trying to take it off the table and move it. I don't know where they were trying to move it to. It didn't seem like they had any sort of plan.
It just seemed like they were trying to get rid of the cardboard, but you guys are more likely right. I was like, why are you trying to do that? Anyway, it falls and the penguin head falls off. Which
It was horrifying. Very if you have kids, don't let them watch this part.
So much.
This is the first time and only time I've ever seen a decapitated penguin on a TV show.
Oh, one only time.
You need to watch more Planet Earth.
Oh man, what? They're decapitating penguins in that show now?
Yeah,
Oh man.
you missed it.
Man, Will Smith takes no prisoners.
I didn't realize he was doing another one until like yesterday.
Oh yeah, we got to check that show. Is that a reality show? That's not a
No.
reality show. That's a documentary.
It
Anyways,
not gonna
we're
work
out,
out.
we're out of the recommendation.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was the penguin. That was the end of
Mr.
the episode.
Sparky. Okay, it's Mr. Sparky.
Whatever. And that's the end of the episode, really.
there was also a point about like Demika like pawning off all his work on everybody else. Like that was another stupid drama moment.
And then he blamed it on Jen. That was great. There's also, we didn't talk about Chris, though. Chris is Jackie's husband, who's also the engineer worker bee for this company.
Yeah, he's just like he quit the corporate world too, I think.
Yep. They have 2 kids. They aren't on the show, really. Although I feel like they'd be great for some of this stuff. Hey, kids, come over here, glue these fucking things together. Like,
You're losing attention. Like depending on what their age is, you're losing attention
yeah,
real
I mean,
quick.
at some point, once they're like 10 or so, you can do that. Right? But whatever.
A
Doesn't
lot of
matter.
repetitive work to be done for these jobs.
Yeah, so much. Like, I don't know what the regular bit jobs are like. Hey, turn this like, I don't know. What's that thing called? Or I can't think of the name of it.
Monotonous?
No. I was just like trying to take something and bling it out in candy. Seems
No.
like probably more like what they're doing, which wouldn't be super monotonous. It would be like it's more planning and like making it look cool and with some monotony. But this 6-week make this house thing, so monotonous. There's so much monotonous work to do.
Thank you for calling out bedazzled. Like that's a very, very monotonous thing to do. And people get so excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, like depends what you're bedazzling. Like if you're bedazzling like a coat and putting some stuff around it, like it's monotonous, but nowhere near as monotonous as putting 600,000 sugar cubes on a styrofoam block. Like there's just an order of magnitude more monotony. Like it's insane.
This kind of reminds me a bit of I don't know if I'm gonna get this quite right, but like almost like the like Indian monks or whatever, where like they do like the sand drawings, like different colored sands, and like you go in like grain by grain, and you'll make like, you know, a 10-foot by 10-foot canvas, and it's this really elaborate design, and then at the end they just wipe it away, and it was just like the act of going through it was such a meditative kind of thing. So like I do think that like people do that kind of stuff for like that sort of benefit or reward or like pleasure. But you're totally right. Like, it's definitely not for everybody, and it's definitely like a thing.
They make puzzles.
Who? The monks?
No, just in general world, there are puzzles. Like we don't need
I
to like.
mean, we're just not saying that like this would be something you could do, and I think it would be relaxing. Like I would definitely do something that's monotonous for like a day, but would this be my job? 100% no. Like there's no way.
He out.
I'm out. I don't want to be surrounded by this candy all day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot with this show. Like, one, Jackie is a certain personality type. Very like a lot. A lot of. I don't want to say it, but I'll say make Valley Girl-esque kind of style of talking and just the way of approaching. Very enthusiastic all the time about everything, super passionate, go, go, go. And at the same time, like totally lacks any structure or like organization to things. And I don't know, just doesn't seem like that kind of environment is very fun. And then like everyone's just super creative all over the place.
I don't know if they're super creative.
The
things happening going on right now are not creative, James. They're
well, that's the struggle. It seems like they want to be creative, but then it's kind of not, right?
No, it's not at all. Anyway, I think let's get into some questions here. I think, who do you think the worst human being in this episode of TV is?
Easy, D. Micah. Like I think he's gonna be the worst person in general this show.
I mean, strong point, strong one, strong contender. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay, what are the other contenders then?
That penguin.
No, dude, Mr. Sparky, arguably the best part of the show.
So it's also Mr. Squeakers.
Squeakers?
Yeah.
I was like, didn't she name it? And I don't think it was that.
She didn't name it. Unfortunately, it wasn't like Mr. Sparky. It was
Damn
Mr.
it.
Squeakers.
I've been calling him Mr. Sparky this whole time.
It's fine.
Terrible.
I only came across it like at the end of my notes.
Squeakers makes more sense. I don't know why, but it seems like it does.
I don't think any of it makes sense.
Well, the other girl also named the igloo for some reason. I'm like, it's an igloo. I don't know why you're naming it, but name the igloo. So then it really threw me off.
Sure. Oh, wait, what did she name the igloo? Do you remember?
I don't know. I got the penguin's name wrong. That was the one I liked.
You could have made up anything. Like I have nothing for this.
All right, my nomination is Frank Kavanaugh for bankrolling this, and the Hulu producers for greenlighting it.
It's probably true. Frank is probably on the board of Hulu.
Like, we're gonna make a candy house. And it's not even like all that Christmassy themed, at least so far. Like it's winter themed. But like if you told me that we're gonna make a candy house, we're gonna put Santa in it for Christmas, I'm like, all right, makes sense. People will come, get their picture of Santa in this candy house, and you get to be in this candy house. Great. But like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
it was also not Christmas. It was just like, quote, coming home for the holidays.
Yeah, they're probably just trying not to lean too hard into the Christmas aspect.
I want to make an argument for D. Micah above Frank Kavanaugh. And the reason I say that is because at least Frank Kavanaugh is like thinking, I'm going to bring joy to kids because they can come visit this thing and be happy. D. Micah is being a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I mean, D-Micah wins. I was just giving it another contender.
Okay.
That's all.
I mean, I'm ready to defend this with my life.
All right. If you have another contender, you can tweet at Brian at Monkey Suck on Twitter, and he will get right back to you.
Man, really making some big promises on the response time.
I might lose it.
So, is this an Apex downgrade for the host? And this is obviously Apex, right? Your own reality show versus a guest judge.
This is not just you have your own reality show. This is like you. I guess like they're trying to land this job. Okay, yeah, this has got to be Apex.
This is Apex.
Is she the host? I mean, like she's definitely the CEO or like the head poncho, but like is she hosting the show? I'm just asking. Like,
she's doing a lot of the host things.
Okay,
but you're right. I don't think she would classically be the like a host, but I would call her the host. We're gonna call her the host. So we're gonna move on because we've already answered the question. Yeah. Let's see. Production schedule? We already talked about 6 weeks. Probably a little longer than 6 weeks, maybe. I don't know. There's like you finish it, then you have the kids come in. Like, you have the kids coming in the middle. Like that wouldn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go. Would this show be better as a Quibi?
100%.
Yeah, splitting apart like each thing and just like showing it.
No,
remove the drama.
I just don't think so. If you would split off each one of these into to its own Quibi, it's not like 8 minutes of like making that penguin's going to be very good.
Yeah, you're right.
And is that an episode of Quibi? Like,
no, you've convinced me. I retract my statement. It'd be terrible as a Quibi.
Like,
it's arguably terrible as this current form.
Like, it's not that good in this form, but as a Quibi, I just don't think it's going to hook me enough to even attempt to watch another episode.
But you'd be done with it in 8 minutes.
I mean, that's the only positive part of that, I think. Like, the fact that you could turn it off quicker. You could turn this off whenever you want.
There's also an aspect of this. So, like, at least Chris and I love watching shows that will try to teach us something. And they tried to teach us something. They showed some little chyrons. And the one that I pointed out was they use push pins to hold things in while they set up stuff for gluing. I'm like, are you fucking for real? Like, I needed that. I needed this show to learn that.
Yeah, there's nothing you're learning on the show, Brian. There's nothing to learn. Oh, Brian, should we bedazzle my coffee table?
No,
with marshmallows.
Where I thought about using this stuff is making a gingerbread house. I think
yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, like
should we have a gingerbread making contest, Brian?
Maybe I would actually be interested in that, but I don't know how good I'm going to be because I didn't learn anything from this show.
Well, you know,
but you did learn about the edible glitter, so
I did. And like gingerbread houses use gumdrops, like screw those. I'm elevating it to like marshmallows and other
champagne
bullshit.
Poppers.
Champagne,
or
yeah,
whatever. Bubbles.
Champagne bubbles.
I don't know.
Champagne bubbles.
What was the thing that was like bigger than glitter? Does anyone remember what that was called? They used it on the igloo.
Oh, the igloo. I was thinking you were talking about the lamp. That was some other crazy thing. That was like kind of something, but I couldn't absorb what they were talking about.
I thought it was like, that's what we're talking about when we're saying we don't know anyone's names because they'll just move on so quick.
Yeah.
All right. Here's our... Who's going to hook up next?
On the show?
Yeah. No, between the three of us.
With the candy? I don't know. It could be anywhere. Micah and Jen.
I do think there might be some sexual tension. You know, there's some fighting. There could be some sexual tension there. You don't know.
Boom.
There's not a lot of men on the show,
yeah.
So we'd have to like go into like territory I'm not really want to. So I'm gonna go with Chris and Jackie.
You mean the people who are actually married?
Okay. Well, I don't know.
That's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah,
they have two kids, so you know.
There wasn't really anybody else that at least was like a main character that was on the show. Everybody else was women.
There was some weird assistant that wasn't really on the show. That was a guy. You know, he could be hooking up with somebody.
Ooh, it could be the guy that was trying to sell them the like whatever we want to call it, like the workspace, the warehouse, or whatever.
Kenny the Fabricator.
Different guy, but okay.
Wait, it's not that guy?
Yeah,
Wait, the
Kenny-
fabricator was also the salesman?
No, there was a realtor that showed up their
Oh, I
houses.
missed that part.
And then there was the guy that's making their fake house.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get. I feel like it'd be funny. I just want to get like a short Quibi from the realtor's perspective. So like it's like he has no other context, right? He's in his office, and then Jackie comes. And he's like, "Here's what I need. I'm doing this crazy house candy thing," and he's like, "Wait, hold the phone. You're doing a what now?"
That would have been great. That would be great. All right, let's do it. What do you love about this show? All right, what do you love about the show, Brian?
I honestly like the creativity. I think that they're doing some cool artwork, and sold separately, like any one of these things could be cool for like a party, but I would want it to be edible as well.
I agree. What I love about this show is that it moves. Might move too quickly, but it is moving. If it does not move, it's no good. And I love the final products. I think they look good. I'll give them that. They look good.
Yeah.
James, what do you got?
That's kind of what I would say as well. Like I think the pacing, like it just keeps it moving. It's always kind of popping. And I do think like the visuals and like just the general, like not the producing from a storytelling, but like the production from a visual AV perspective, I thought was pretty well. Like lighting was cool. Like there was no like terrible shots. Like everything kind of looked pretty good and like somewhat interesting.
All right, let's do our second favorite question, drinking rules. We're going to get the one that we all came up with right off the top here. Is anytime D-Micah eats a piece of candy, take a drink.
Oh yeah.
It might be a little hard, but it's the best rule.
I think you can also extend it to other people. I think Jem was like eating candy and another shot later, but
That's fair.
Anytime anyone eats candy.
yeah.
There you go. Brian, what do you got?
Drink for every person who's moving some item that they've made. Like there's going to be it's a team effort to move all these things. So you're going to be like, "Whoa,
That's going. James, you got one?
I do have a new one. Drink every time there's a new piece of candy you've never heard of before.
Yes.
That's a good one. Drink, cheers every finished product. You know, they worked really hard on that. Give them a little cheers. Brian,
Is there another one? Sorry to jump in. Is there another one for when they mess something up because they're moving it or
Yeah.
like it falls apart or gets decapitated?
obviously, you need to cheers for when something falls apart.
You finish your drink. Or you pour one out. Like you can do either. Like I don't care.
You pour one out your balcony for the homies, the dead penguins.
Poor Mr. Squeakers.
Anyone have any other ones they want to throw out there? I feel like the candy one's really good. Maybe you could throw a drama one in there.
Yeah, where like, oh, there's this needless drama.
Anytime like somebody argues about some way to do something.
Yeah, if somebody's debating the pattern of a candy gluing.
Yeah, just like
Just
oh,
go
it's
ahead and
just
drink.
like no one cares. Anyway, let's get into our last question. We do ratings. So we do a stack ranking system between top, middle, bottom, third compared to other reality shows. Some people might stack rank in their stack ranks. Brian, what do you have for me?
I'm doing middle of the middle. It moved. It was kind of interesting. The drama was stupid, but it resolved quickly. I kind of want to see what other cool things they create, even though I think it's really wasteful.
James.
I struggle with this. Oof. Okay, I think I'm gonna go middle, bottom middle for my inner. And as much as I kind of grip about it, like it does some things pretty well. Like it keeps it moving. It did keep my interest kind of throughout. But I definitely there's a lot of pieces that I hate. Like I hated the drama piece. It just felt fake and forced and like more annoying than interesting in my opinion. And like it was just like it was this tension I didn't care for. Plus one, what Brian said about the wastefulness, it doesn't feel good watching this from that perspective. But I think all in all, like it ends up in the middle for me. Because like they do a lot of things well. Like they're keeping things moving. They didn't dwell too long on stuff that nobody cares about. And by the end, you got to see a lot of stuff get created that I thought was pretty interesting.
There you go. Noah sent me his rating. Noah, fix your internet so you can actually join us next week. He said middle third. With no real reasoning. So,
No explanation.
So if you want to know, you can tweet at Noah on Twitter.
Is he at Noah?
I don't know his handle on Twitter. You can ask at Hoopathison on Twitter, and you can ask him what it is. You can give us your opinion on Twitter at Hoopathison. Anyway, I agree. I think it's middle third. I think it's moves. I think it's ludicrous. It was fun to watch with you guys. And I think if you just add that rule of drinking while they eat candy, I think you take this to the next level. Like you're really, really enjoying this show a bit. I think it's very silly to do what they're doing. And I think it's pretty wasteful. So it's hard to recommend anyone watch the show or go to this candy thing. Like I think honestly, these kids would get more enjoyment out of if you delivered them a dump truck of candy that you put in this house than go to this house. Like, it's just, I don't even think that's even debatable.
I just got a crazy idea. I don't know if this exists. Does candy Legos exist?
Yes, I've seen them.
Because that sounds like it would cure this itch, right? Like you get to eat the candy, you get to make something. That seems great.
Yeah, we should get on that.
Somebody should make that.
Let's do it.
Lego. Maybe we have to delete this from the pod so we make it.
Yeah. I'll go right and do that.
All right, we're getting back in the Shark Tank. Who put this on?
Brian, what's your shout out this week?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is back.
It's back, baby.
Yeah. Most of the gang also has a podcast too that has also been pretty good. It's been pretty funny just listening to them shoot the shit.
It's definitely a shoot the shit podcast.
Yeah.
They're not very focused on I want them talking about the show. They just don't do it.
I do want them to talk a little bit more about that. I agree. But at the same time, they get into this real big segment about if somebody injures themselves during a scene, you don't fucking cut. You roll with it just to be getting that part. And if it's raw, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an insane idea by Glenn, but it's a good bit.
Well, that's when they were actually talking about the show.
Yeah, they were relating to something where they actually got injured, but
it is actually getting me to rewatch the show, which I think is the best part about it, to be honest. James, you got a shout out this week?
I do. So something I watched back. I was visiting the family recently. Watched the movie King Richard, the relatively new Will Smith movie. Where he basically plays Serena Venus Williams' father. And it's kind of the story around them. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly recommend. Do be warned, it's pretty lengthy. It's 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes, something like that.
It's a long movie, yeah.
All in all, I thought it was a very interesting movie. You can debate some of the inner, storyline, different details or things that were in or maybe left out that you want to feel different about. But I thought all in all, it was a pretty strong Will Smith performance. And I thought, I don't remember the actress's name that played Venus and Serena, but they were really interesting. It was just a really interesting look. That's also good for I think all ages. Has a lot of good, interesting stories just about kids bring it up, especially youth sports and things. A lot of crossovers between tennis and a lot of similarities to golf and other kind of country club-esque kind of sports. So yeah, I would recommend.
All right, I got a top, middle, bottom recommendations for you here. Let's start with the top. Keep mentioning it. Wheel of Time on Amazon. Watch it. It's good. The last episode 4 was great. Takes a little back step, episode 5, but still good. Really excited to see where the season goes. And I got a middle third recommendation for people. We got House of Gucci. It's out in theaters. It's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours about, the House of the Gucci brand, the family that ran the Gucci brand. It was interesting. It was a little too long for me, but it was worth I thought it was worth watching. And then my bottom third is the season of The Challenge 37. It is
no deep spoilers.
I'm not spoiling anything. I just think it's bad. It's not good. You got to have those skulls, or this show is terrible. No one wants to go in the fucking challenge, and I watch the show for the challenge. And it's disgusting when people come in and say, I don't want to go down. That's gross. Get out of there. Get in. You want to be in there. You need to go down there.
you're telling me you don't like playing that scared game?
Like, there's just like this whole season's just been people about not going down. And it's so exciting when people do, when they're good. It's just, I don't want to see garbage people down there anyway.
The thing is, so when you bring in new talent, yeah, you kind of want to like say, show me what you got. But when you have a lot of people coming in already with like these formed relationships and everything, that's already an advantage over these new people. It's already shitty. The Red Skull kind of balanced that. And now it's just, you're playing this like really political game, and now it's all veterans, and with a couple exceptions, like, don't care. I would much rather like see new life brought in, because in a year or so, a lot of them might retire, and then we're going to get it anyway.
Oh no, I tend to agree. Like, I do like the skull element of the game aspect of it. I do like that they kind of do try to like change the game so you don't kind of know what the format is every season. But totally, I mean, like, it's an excellent point. Like, once you introduce the skull aspect where you have to go down and like earn your way in, like, that's a really good mechanic. And I hope that they like improve, like, or find other interesting ways to like add those elements or the benefits of those types of elements for sure.
Yeah. And to be fair, the skull also had the challenge where they just sent one guy in like repeatedly every single week, and he was just getting the same red skull. And it's like, well, okay, nobody else is going in.
It just needs to be, I don't know. The challenge just needs to be more equitable, and like people need to like go in that and want to go in. Like, there has to be, like, I know the incentive is to not leave. That's great. But then stop showing me people just being like, yeah, I don't have to go in. I'm great. I'm happy. Bro, I can make another week, bro. It's just like, that just doesn't make me feel good about the show. So get your shit together, MTV, even though I doubt you will.
You heard it, the call to action.
The call to action. All right. Anyway, you can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On. Find us on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. Who Put This On podcast on TikTok.
Yo, that Santa TikTok. Woo, that was some hotness.
Yeah, and follow us on find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can ask questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yo, Noah is so far north.
You should go run out there.
Run? It would take days. It's so far.